I'm going to play Out of the Park Baseball 25 as the owner again, but this time it's going to be a historical save starting in 1970 with the Milwaukee Brewers. That's right, I'm the owner instead of him. If you missed my Oakland A's owner save last year and want to catch that one first, there's a card up at the top. So the rules here are the same as last time. I get to set the overall budget, determine my assistant general manager, and negotiate goals. That's still it. All other decisions will be delegated to the acting general manager. And if Milwaukee wins the World Series, I win. If we run out of cash, I lose, or if I, the owner, die in the game, I also lose. Once again, I've made myself the owner via the editor and brought my incredible personality from the Oakland save with me. I'm 42 now, which puts me 1 year closer to death than last time. I'm wasting no time getting rid of a goal to upgrade the catcher position for an objective to build a top 5 farm system. Like last time, I've set the manager options to delegate everything, put the game in commissioner mode, set myself as can't be fired, and activated do not disturb mode. Our financial ownership levers are still in the edit finances screen. Right out of the gate, I'm setting the team mode to rebuild, budget to a minuscule $1 million, and the same figure for projected budget. The biggest difference from the last save, other than it being historical, is the Brewers are in debt and nowhere near profitable. So I'm getting a $10 million loan for 20 years at an 8.5% interest rate. My payments will be just over $1 million per year through 1989. That's over a third of my 1970 revenue. The term crippling debt sounds about right here. And if I miss a payment, I lose the challenge. Here's the ugliness we're starting with. I already mentioned that we had to take out that big loan, but we also lost 98 games last season to finish last in the AL West. Our payroll is ranked 23rd out of 24. Our farm system is ranked 20th. Our fan interest is 18th. Our fan loyalty is poor, and only San Diego has a smaller market. My objective in the first decade is simply to survive financially, and even if I make it that far, we're still several years away from the revenue sharing era. In other words, the level of difficulty way higher than last time. Milwaukee's GM is Marvin Milks. He's not bad, and I shouldn't risk the financial penalty of firing him anyway. He trades a lot, maintains a low budget, which we probably need to shed salary and stay afloat, but he doesn't develop players, so his reign shouldn't last longer than his 4-year contract. So here we go. Not too shabby on the field with 78 wins, thanks to a nice season by 30-year-old second baseman Tommy Harper and 29-year-old closer Ken Sanders. We lost more money than expected, and we need to tighten that up, but our minor league system improved to 6th best in baseball. Uh-oh. It's a huge drop-off to 106 losses and a last-place finish in 1971. We did much better financially and made further gains to our minor league system. One bright spot on the field was the introduction of 1970 first-round pick Steve Busby. We moved to the AL East for the 1972 season and finished 4th. However, we lost more money and suffered a drop in market size, making our job harder going forward. Mike Hegan and Marty Patton provided nice individual performances, and we got another rookie debut by 1971 second-round pick Dan Meyer, who delivered a 2020 season to earn Rookie of the Year and has nice potential as a first baseman or left fielder going forward. We finished 4th again in 1973, but it was a step backward with 94 losses on the field and $1 million in losses off of it. None of our youngsters took the step forward I was hoping for. Our assistant GM Marvin Milks is out of his contract. Omar Campos gets a 5-year contract to take his place. He trades actively and emphasizes drafting and development, but he won't be able to fund those activities until we get our finances under control. Our play on the field got worse in 1974, 98 losses. While we lost too much money, I'm starting to think we'll pull through our financial woes. Once the reserve clause is removed in 1976, we won't be able to keep our highest paid players, and our young players will stay cheap for longer. Speaking of young players, 2 more broke through this season. Darryl Porter delivered nearly 4 WAR when finally getting his chance to play a full season in the big leagues. He has a chance to become a perennial all-star catcher. Dennis Martinez joined the rotation immediately after being our first-round draft pick in 1973. He narrowly avoided 20 losses but showed league average peripherals, and he's got tons of room for growth into an ace starting pitcher. Despite the young talent, we've sunk to 102 losses for our second straight last place finish. Young hopefuls Steve Busby and Dan Meyer aren't panning out. but Dennis Martinez showed nice improvement in his second season. The minor league system is primed, and next season will be the last for our overpaid veterans. We improved by 11 games in 1976, though we still lack difference makers. Dennis Martinez led the team with just 3.2 WAR. We now boast the #1 minor league system in baseball, and our payroll will now fall further as free agency has arrived. Tommy Harper signed with the Giants after 7 seasons and 22 WAR accumulated with our Brewers. Marty Patton has also been in Milwaukee since the move, accumulating 20 WAR during that time. And the same goes for Mike Hegan, who picked up 23 WAR. These were the last 3 players from our original 1970 opening day roster. It wasn't a memorable era for our Brewers, though. We made another 6-game improvement in 1977. We didn't have to take any cash out, which means we can start transitioning our focus toward building a team. Our minor league system fell to 8th because of graduations, including Jack Clark, who won the AL Rookie of the Year award with 5 WAR and 142 WRC+. Looks like we have an outstanding right fielder for years to come. Scott Sanderson has ace potential and accumulated 4 WAR during his rookie season. He could pair with Dennis Martinez for a wicked 1-2 punch. But Dan Worthen could make it 1-2-3. He has just enough stamina to start and should post massive strikeout numbers. He posted 3 WAR in his first full season with the big league club. Now that we've got financial stability, Assistant General Manager Omar Campos can do his job properly, and we're giving him the chance to do just that with a 5-year extension. The bad news is we fell to 6th place in the AL East in 1978, but the better news is we just completed our first season above 500 and we turned a profit. Shortstop Gorman Thomas had a career year with 5 WAR, Jack Clark was strong with 4, and our top 4 starters were all solid. Time to shift our team focus out of rebuilding and into neutral. It's back-to-back seasons of winning and profitability for our Brewers, but we're miles away from the Red Sox and Tigers. Jack Clark and Dennis Martinez were great once again, as was Gorman Thomas, but he signed with the Dodgers as a free agent in the offseason. 1978 first-round pick Lloyd Moseby has entered the picture, though, with a nice performance after his mid-season call-up. He's got all the tools of an all-star outfielder. I also learned that Omar Campos retired almost immediately after I extended him 2 years ago, and so the AI hired Wes Stock, who's very run-of-the-mill. His low preference of draft development and scouting budget is a non-starter for me. Mike Heater is our new assistant general manager. I don't like that he ignores on-base percentage, but he puts a ton of focus on development and scouting. So this concludes our first decade. We finished with a measly .441 winning percentage and 0 division titles, but this decade was all about financial survival, and we've succeeded in that. With the inflationary 70s in the past, those $1 million annual payments don't hurt nearly as much, and there's only 10 years of them left. We've taken a surprising step back in 1980. Lloyd Moseby and Jack Clark posted the best 2 seasons ever by Milwaukee Brewers, but our lack of depth was our undoing. Our pitching continued to be outstanding, with Dan Worthen leading the league with a 2.11 ERA, but a few key ones are approaching free agency without replacements available in the minors. Our minor league system fell to 20th thanks to the graduation of 1975 first-round pick Rickey Henderson, who took over as our starting left fielder. He accumulated 2 WAR and 39 stolen bases during his rookie season. Larry Sorensen broke out in his 4th season, posting 3.4 and an 80 FIP-. Our first pick from 1978, Carlos Diaz, also made his debut, posting 1.6 WAR and ascending to the closer award during his rookie season. But we're at a crossroads. Dennis Martinez is a free agent after next season. We can pour cash into the team and make a run, though I believe we're more than one player away from catching the Red Sox and Tigers. Maybe we can get him extended, but if not, we should stay patient. We had a nice 86-win season in 1981, but nowhere close to the Tigers. We've got an incredible outfield trio of Rickey Henderson, Lloyd Moseby, and Jack Clark going. The pitching staff is solid with a 3 WAR closer in Carlos Diaz, but we're sorely lacking in the infield and behind the plate. Dennis Martinez signed a 3-year contract with the Phillies in the offseason, finishing his Brewers career with 32 WAR and our gratitude. But with our offensive limitations and lack of minor league system, we need to rebuild this team. Jack Clark and Lloyd Moseby both posted 7 WAR seasons in 1982. We boosted our profitability while the minor league system remained stagnant. The rebuild gets a push from a Rickey Henderson injury and trading Scott Sanderson to the St. Louis Cardinals at the trade deadline for prospect Mike Moore. Sanderson accumulated 21 WAR as a Brewer and leaves with our thanks. With our system still thin, we've given general manager Mike Heater a goal to bring it back into the top half of the league. Rickey Henderson won the 1983 American League MVP award, Lloyd Moseby and Jack Clark won Silver Sluggers, and Larry Sorensen won 20 games out of the rotation. We still lost 90 games in 1983 because there's not much else down our roster. At least we're still profitable and paying down our debt, the minor league system is starting to recover, and Lloyd Moseby was signed to an extension, but we do have to say goodbye to Dan Worthen, who signed a 3-year deal with the Houston Astros. He made 3 All-Star appearances, led the league in ERA in 1980, and contributed 23 WAR to our Brewers. The usual suspects carried us to a winning record with their Silver Slugger awards, but we still finished 30 games out of first place. We also lost a lot of cash in the process and need to get our payroll down a bit. And that will be Mike Heater's job, who's on board for another 5 seasons. We finished 1985 with 88 losses and traded Carlos Diaz to the Braves at the deadline. The minor league system lost its momentum and we lost $2 million in cash. It's deep rebuild time, starting with Rickey Henderson, who signed a 4-year deal with the St. Louis Cardinals after bagging us an MVP, 3 All-Star appearances, 3 Silver Sluggers, and 32 WAR, but no playoff appearances. We were brutal in 1986, tallying 107 losses despite an 8 WAR season from Lloyd Moseby. We earned the worst record in baseball and then failed to sign first overall pick Ken Griffey Jr. We're a train wreck right now. And now we're without ace Larry Sorensen, who was traded to the Cardinals at the deadline and then signed for the Twins in the offseason. He made 3 All-Star appearances and accumulated 32 WAR as a Brewer, making him the most decorated pitcher in Brewers history. Back-to-back 100-loss seasons landed us with the 4th pick in the draft, plus we have compensation for last year's number 1 pick. This launched our minor league system into 8th, while our microscopic payroll is helping us rake in cash. 1980 first-round pick Jose Guzman is finally contributing at the big league level, though a 5.90 ERA isn't exactly what I had in mind. It's worth 2 WAR though, and he still has more upside. 1984 first-round pick Bobby Witt also made his debut by losing 21 games in 1986 and pitched a little better in 1987. By better, I mean he reduced his ERA from 7 to 6. Jack Clark leaves Milwaukee as the greatest player in Brewers history. He started as the 1977 Rookie of the Year, made 5 All-Star appearances, won 5 Silver Sluggers and a Gold Glove, and amassed 61 wins above replacement. He signed with the rival Boston Red Sox for 5 seasons. The team improved to 67 wins in 1988, but we're still in the cellar. There's lots of good news though. First, check out our $4 million profit. We're just about out of our debt and raking in cash on our low payroll. We couldn't sign Ken Griffey Jr. in 86, but he fell to the 2nd pick in 87, and we didn't mess it up this time. He went straight to the show and collected the Rookie of the Year award. While he only seems to have the glove of a right fielder, those potential hitting ratings are stunning. We also drafted Tim Naehring 4th overall, and he got a call-up after a week in AAA, posting over 3 WAR. He should pair nicely with Griffey in the middle of our order for a while. But Lloyd Moseby won't be joining them in that lineup any longer. He's opted out of his contract and then signed with the Astros for 1/3 of the contract value. 5 All-Star appearances, 2 Silver Sluggers, a Gold Glove, and 52 WAR make him the 2nd best player in Brewers history, just behind Jack Clark. 1989 brought our 4th straight last place finish, but another major cash haul. Our initial $10 million loan is paid off and we have tons of room to spend now. Perhaps it's time to loosen those purse strings with a young core of Ken Griffey Jr., Tim Naehring, and 1989 Rookie of the Year Frank Thomas, who destroyed the American League immediately upon call-up. And now we turn the page on the 1980s and look back at another 10 years of losing. We were almost as bad in our second decade as we were in the first, But things are looking up for the 90s, and we've hired Joe Davis as our new assistant general manager to lead us to more competitiveness. He's big on scouting and development and has low trade aggressiveness. Our other GMs were getting fleeced by the AI in trades, so no more of that, please. It's a false start in 1990 with another 90-loss season. Frank Thomas had another excellent year, but Ken Griffey Jr. struggled with injuries, and we had the worst pitching in the league. Our new GM, Joe Davis, didn't do anything with the increased budget, but at least that means we made a ton of cash again. Then we fell back into last place in 1991 with 94 losses, finishing third in the AL in runs scored, thanks to great seasons by Ken Griffey Jr. and Frank Thomas. But our pitching and defense surrendered over 900 runs. That's 2 seasons of not spending, so we're gonna try win now focus. We can add second baseman Brett Boone to our pool of young hitting stars. He smashed 20 homers and collected 4 WAR during his second season after being picked 5th overall in the 1989 draft. Joe Davis spent money on win now mode, but on trashy veterans to still finish below 500. Shout out for bringing back 36-year-old Scott Sanderson though. Frank Thomas won the MVP, Jose Guzman won 20 games, and Kent Mercker won Fireman of the Year, and we wasted it. Not that this mattered anyway with the Tigers winning 110 games. Maybe build a dynasty is what we need. Perhaps that move was useful. Joe Davis traded a couple of youngsters for Ruben Sierra, who's entering the last year of his contract. Normally that's a no-no for a small market team, but our big guns enter free agency soon and we might as well roll the dice. Dice roll failed. 1993 brought another 90-loss season. I'm happy to report we signed Ken Griffey Jr. to a 7-year extension and Jose Guzman to a 6-year extension, but Frank Thomas is up next and we don't have a deal yet. Ruben Sierra did everything we expected from the trade, but it was for naught. 1991 first-round pick Esteban Loaiza was the season's bright spot, posting 3 WAR as a rookie. If he develops as planned, we'll have a nice 1-2 with Jose Guzman. Try this one with your baseball trivia buffs. Which MLB franchise played in the AL West, AL East, and AL Central? That would be the Brewers. As for the 94 season, Esteban Loaiza missed the whole season due to injury and we lost 98 games despite Frank Thomas winning his 2nd MVP award. And that will be his last with the Brewers as we couldn't reach an extension agreement. He signed with the Tigers after 2 MVPs, 6 All-Star appearances, 5 Silver Sluggers, and 41 wins above replacement. 67 and 95 in 1995. Poor Esteban Loaiza became the latest Brewers starter to lose 20 games. We have talent, but our team chemistry is shot by 7 players with poor personalities. I'm 68 years old, haven't sniffed the playoffs once, and probably considered one of the worst owners in baseball history at this point. Hideo Nomo bolstered our starting rotation, which has become the strength of the team. He's going to miss plenty of bats and hopefully contain the home runs and walks. Bobby Bloodsaw is our new general manager after Joe Davis's tenure was a disaster. Bloodsaw is sabermetric friendly, development focused, and has awesome name value. The streak of 90-loss seasons is over. Esteban Loaiza was having a nice year until Bobby Bloodsaw traded him for a pair of prospects at the trade deadline. We got back into the black financially, and the minor league system graduated another key player. Edgardo Alfonzo established himself as the team's leadoff man and leader in his 2nd season with the Brewers. The positional flexibility is nice too, but we can consider third base locked down for the time being. We also got Jeffrey Hammonds in a trade with the Atlanta Braves. He gave us a plus bat and excellent defense across all 3 outfield positions. I'm positioning us for a big funding push with 2 modified goals. One is to boost our fan interest to generate more revenue, and the other is to get our team chemistry under control. We hopefully don't need to worry about center field because Andrew Jones should be on his way. Our minor league system ranking dropped because Jones graduated and we didn't sign our first-round pick. We finished last in our final AL Central season, but it was near 500 ball with a lot of promising performances. Ken Griffey Jr. is in his prime and Edgardo Alfonzo joined him as an all-star level player. Jose Guzman was a 20-game winner for the 2nd time. The minor league system rocketed back up the rankings and we made a ton of cash, and we even developed 2 new bullpen aces. Robert Scaffa was a 20th round draft pick by the Twins. We got him in the Esteban Loaiza deal, and he's developed into a strikeout machine from the left side of the bullpen. He could be a closer on most teams, But not ours, because right-hander Al Reyes is even better. He's been with the team for 3 seasons and keeps getting better to take over the closer job. Lots of good news, so we're going to push our chips into the middle here. And after 28 years of nothing but losing and growing old, we finally are going to the postseason, claiming 88 wins and the wild card in our first season as a National League team. Ken Griffey hit 55 homers and drove in 162 runs to earn the NL MVP award. Hideo Nomo took a huge leap forward with 6 WAR. Our payroll jumped and we still made a huge profit. We'll face the Houston Astros in the Division Series, where former Brewers star Frank Thomas delivered the knockout punch for the Astros in Game 4. The Astros win easily to advance to the NLCS, where they got swept by the Braves, who in turn lost the World Series to the White Sox. A big part of our 1998 success is credited to NL Rookie of the Year Troy Glaus, who delivered 42 homers, Gold Glove defense at first base, and 6 wins above replacement. Our hitting core is fearsome, but sadly our pitching staff takes a hit in the offseason as Jose Guzman declined his player option and signed a 3-year contract with the Minnesota Twins. Guzman spent 13 years with the Brewers, earning 169 wins, 2,200 strikeouts, and an All-Star appearance in 1992, and his 40 wins above replacement is the Brewers' franchise best for a pitcher. And his exit was crushing. Our starting pitching finished 15th in ERA, leading to an 82-win season with no playoff berth, despite great performances from new players. Eric Chavez accomplished just about everything possible as a rookie by winning the Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, and Rookie of the Year. He even tallied a 21-game winning streak. With Chavez locked in at third now and Brett Boone already at second, Edgardo Alfonzo moved over to shortstop. Andrew Jones realized his enormous potential in his second full season, winning a Gold Glove, launching 33 homers and posting 4 WAR. Our lineup is so ridiculous now. We finished well below 500 during the 1990s, but over 500 from 1996 through 1999, and finally banked a postseason berth. We're absolutely in a window, but I'm not sure how long it's going to last. There's nothing left in the minors, so it's time to unleash our $47 million from the bank to win this challenge. Bobby Bloodsaw put this team together, so he's extended to see this through. First step accomplished. We're back in the postseason with 92 wins. 5 different players hit 30 home runs. Chavez hit 44, Jones and Griffey hit 45. We also gave up a lot of runs, as expected, with Hideo Nomo holding that rotation together. So it's off to extra innings in Game 4 of the NLDS, where Carl Schultz walked 4 batters and uncorked a wild pitch to gift us 2 runs. Jeremy Benson sent us to the NLCS to face the Houston Astros, where Frank Thomas dominated Game 6 at Enron Field with 2 homers. Dwight Gooden pitched a complete game, sending the Astros to the World Series, which they would lose to the Twins in 5 games. This is the end of the road for the greatest Milwaukee Brewer, Ken Griffey Jr., who signed a 4-year deal with the New York Mets. Hard to argue with an MVP, 8 All-Star appearances, 3 Silver Sluggers, 3 Gold Gloves, 500 home runs, and 71 WAR. Best of luck, kid. The pain doesn't end there, as Hideo Nomo also left to sign a 5-year deal with the Dodgers. Given the state of our rotation, this one arguably hurts more. 26 WAR over 6 years with the club, and he'll be sorely missed. But despite those key losses, we've won our division for the first time in franchise history. Al Reyes moved into the starting rotation and gave us 4 WAR. We got just enough from others by going deep into the red financially. Oh right, and I forgot to mention, we spent all that money to sign this guy named Alex Rodriguez from the Mariners. He's pretty good. 8 WAR, I'll take it. We have Troy Glaus, Brett Boone, Edgardo Alfonzo, Alex Rodriguez, and Eric Chavez as our infielders, and it's Glaus that has to hit the bench. After steadily improving over his first 3 seasons, 24-year-old catcher Craig Wilson broke out with 31 homers and 5 wins above replacement. 1997 second-round pick Will Oman also turned in a dominant season from the bullpen, registering 9 wins, 8 saves, and 13 holds. Now we're off to Denver for the winner-take-all Game 5 of the NLDS. where our early lead was dismantled by this third-inning J.D. Drew grand slam. The Rockies pulled away, and Kurt Laskonic retired Emil Brown to give the Rockies the series. And they would go on to defeat the Florida Marlins and Toronto Blue Jays to win the World Series. We finished 2002 with the second best record in baseball, behind a team in our own division. Alex Rodriguez finished with an insane 14 wins above replacement. And no, those 61 homers are not the all-time record. 2002 also brings revenue sharing to Major League Baseball, so despite having a rapidly growing payroll, we still pulled in $3 million from the new financial program, resulting in only $7 million in losses. Trade acquisition Joe Nathan impressed out of the setup role with 18 holds and a full win above replacement. Our bullpen is deeper than ever, and now we're off to Houston for another take-all Game 5 in the NLDS. This time it was former Brewer Brian Hunter with the soul-crushing home run. Troy Gloss was our last chance in the ninth, but he crushed the ball deep to right field and caught. Astros advance, but fall to the Expos in the NLCS, who lose to the Red Sox in the World Series. But our financial foot stays on the gas because we've got plenty of cash, but now we're in trouble. We win just 84 games in 2003 to finish 4th in the division. A-Rod was good and the pitching was surprisingly good, but the whole run-scoring attack regressed. Kudos to Al Reyes for winning 16 games despite only making 6 starts. But now the decisions get tough. We missed out on a ton of revenue by missing the postseason, lost $16 million in cash with only $19 million left. If I'm not careful, we go broke. But if I'm too careful, a coffin is calling my name soon. 2004 wasn't save-ending, but it was heartbreaking. We entered the last day of the season in a 3-way tie for the NL Central lead and a 4-way tie for the NL wildcard. We blew a 9th-inning lead against the St. Louis Cardinals and have missed the postseason again. Almost all of our cash reserves are gone, and we're operating well into the red going into the 2005 season. Time to rebuild, and 2004 may have been our last real chance. Angel Pagan is currently our only top prospect in the top 100, so our first step is replacing an increased attendance goal with rebuilding that farm. We started our rebuild with an MLB best 104 wins and our second ever NL Central title. Did I just say that? I asked for a rebuild, but Bobby Bloodsaw blew the stop sign, kept most of the team together, and preserved just enough cash to keep us in the save. Not sure whether to fire him or give him a hug, so we faced the Reds in Game 3 of the NLDS. And it was Edgardo Alfonso's day with a single 3 doubles and this exclamation point homer. Wyatt Brooks retired Jimmy Rollins to finish the sweep and send us to the NLCS against the New York Mets. We had a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th, and Andrew Jones sent one deep and gone to right center field. The Milwaukee Brewers will face the Angels in the World Series. Adam Dunn hit 2 homers to put the Angels up 5-1, but we rallied back and Craig Wilson tied the game in the top of the 9th with his second homer of the game. But Ramon Santiago hit a squibber just out of the reach of A-Rod, giving the Angels the series in 5 games. Congrats to the Angels. Against my wishes, the front office and team came so close to winning the challenge, and now we've got another tough decision, because Edgardo Alfonso has left to sign a 5-year deal with the Washington Nationals. He made 4 All-Star appearances as a Brewer, won a Silver Slugger, and accumulated 46 WAR over 10 seasons with us. Brett Boone also left for Boston on a 2-year deal. He supplied 32 WAR over 15 seasons, making him the Brewers franchise leader with 2,254 games played and 2,504 hits. Thankfully, there is help on the way. Aramis Ramirez broke into the starting lineup last season and delivered a 4-WAR season with 30 homers. We certainly need him now. 1999 first-round pick Angel Pagan broke onto the roster and delivered 3 WAR as our leadoff hitter. Bobby Bloodsaw was our best assistant general manager, but it's time to move on given our financial uncertainty. Dave Wyatt brings a similar profile of rare trading, low loyalty, and focus on drafting and developing. We're going to keep a neutral team focus, but I want Dave Wyatt to keep us competitive and then spend big in 2007 when Eric Chavez, A-Rod, and Craig Wilson's contracts all expire. Heartbreak again in 2006. We finished 1 game behind the Nationals for the wild card. A-Rod won his 5th MVP. He and Andrew Jones are racking up career accomplishments, but we wiped out our farm system chasing the playoffs this year. and need a season to regroup. We held on to a .500 record in 2007, but this is clearly a sinking ship. Our best players are over 30, so I'm hoping a rebuild will net some prospects for them while also building up our cash reserve for one last push. Eric Chavez is the latest free agent casualty. He signed for Houston for 4 years after delivering 4 All-Star appearances, 2 Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger, 300 home runs, and 48 wins above replacement over 9 seasons. We sank to 91 losses in 2008, but made $20 million, which was basically the plan for the season. And it's time to say goodbye to the greatest Brewer, Alex Rodriguez. How about 3 MVPs, 8 All-Star appearances, 8 Gold Gloves, 6 Silver Sluggers, 341 home runs, and 79 WAR? Sadly, though, no World Series rings. He's off to the Rockies on a 5-year deal. We actually improved in 2009, which is not what I wanted. Most of our superstars are gone, but a bunch of cheap signings performed well. We made a whopping $34 million. One more season of this, and we'll have built a nice war chest of cash. But we need cheap, high-end talent to build around, and we won't get it with the 11th pick in the draft. So it's the end of our 4th decade. This one was by far our most successful with 4 postseason appearances, and yet it all amounted to failure for now. I'm giving Wyatt a goal to acquire a Cy Young Award winner, not because I want one now, but because the goal will still be there in a few years when I do want one. Time to say goodbye to Craig Wilson. A power-hitting catcher is a great recipe for a winning team. We were fortunate to have one for over a decade. He delivered 5 All-Star appearances, a Silver Slugger, and 33 WAR. Now signs with the Angels on a 1-year deal. That's more like it. 100 losses earns us the 2nd pick in the upcoming draft. Time for one last push in win now mode. We've got $100 million to spend. So we'll try to take 50 million losses this year and another 50 million next year and see what happens. Nothing happened. Dave Wyatt wasn't nearly aggressive enough and we lost 98 games. Win now is broken. It's kind of my fault. It's the 2nd time I've been fooled by it. The good news is we'll get a really high draft pick again, but I fear I'm going to die with a lot of unspent cash. We're back on Build a Dynasty, and now we're spending. The good news is we have an ace to build around. Matt Harvey posted 4 WAR in his rookie season and looks like our best pitcher since Hideo Nomo. Lots of spending in the offseason yielded improvement by 10 wins. Not nearly good enough, and we didn't lose that much money, which means we need Some of the additions were good. Mark Mulder was a productive starter at age 34. We also signed Adam Dunn, and he clubbed 41 home runs, which was good enough for 3 WAR. We have him for 4 more seasons. We drafted another cornerstone player in right fielder Yasiel Puig, who posted 5 WAR and made the All-Star team as a rookie. What a bust. 72 and 90 in 2013. We've got a bunch of big names, and they're all past their prime. Matt Harvey seems to be just a guy, and Yasiel Puig isn't playing like the savior I need him to be. Kudos to Mark Mulder on the perfect game, though. Yasmani Grandal has also developed into a stalwart behind the dish and delivered 4 WAR on his 4th season. His defense has developed nicely, and he's going to be on base a lot. Drew Smyly improved during his first full Major League season. Our 2010 second-round pick has well-rounded ratings and a dominant curveball to generate strikeouts. We signed J.J. Hardy in the offseason, which looks like a good move on the surface, but 2 problems. First, he didn't play as well as his ratings suggest with only 1.8 WAR. Second, he's a disruptive personality who's making everyone else upset and play worse. And now it's time to say goodbye to our new franchise leader in games played, runs scored, total bases, stolen bases, and strikeouts. Andrew Jones made 2 All-Star appearances, won 5 Gold Gloves, was the MVP of the 2000 NL Division Series, and accumulated 62 WAR over 16 seasons with our Brewers. Sadly, his age has eroded his range and he had to sign a minor league option deal with the Diamondbacks. We made huge improvement in 2014, but we fell just 2 games short of the 2nd wild card. Yasiel Puig and J.J. Hardy delivered the goods. Yasmani Grandal and Drew Smyly continued their growth, but somehow our assistant general manager isn't spending the ridiculous amount of money he has available to him. But we're getting more help from the farm. Jurickson Profar collected 3 WAR and was the National League Rookie of the Year. He's a Swiss Army knife that could help us in a number of different positions. Right now, that's 3rd base. Because Aramis Ramirez is calling it quits after 13 years with the club. He made 4 All-Star appearances, earned 2 Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger, the 2005 NLCS MVP, and 29 WAR over 13 seasons with the club. Could have been more if he wasn't blocked for so long by Eric Chavez and Troy Gloss at third. Carlos Rodon also broke into the big league roster and completely dominated in the 9 starts we gave him. Check out this crazy season. He went 0-11 in 18 AAA starts, then goes 4-1 and a 1.74 ERA in the big leagues. I don't want to jump JJ Hardy, so we're giving our GM a goal to improve team chemistry. Best way to do that is to spend your money and win games. I'm an 87-year-old man who doesn't have time for any more nonsense, and I need a nap. We finished 77 and 85 in 2015, and the organization once again failed to spend all the money in their budget. Time for a new general manager because we have to be close to the end, and it's time to push it all in now. Though it's not that we didn't bring anyone in. We brought in 6-time All-Star reliever Adrian Ramirez, and he posted nearly 2 WAR in 90 innings. $22 million a year on a reliever is kind of suspect, but we've got the money to do it. Tom Vasella has developed into our closer from humble beginnings as a 23rd round draft pick in 2005. He also posted nearly 2 WAR with 28 saves. So at least the bullpen's in great shape heading into 2016. Except we won't be heading into 2016. The save is over, as I've apparently decided to sell the team. But I suppose that's better than dying. Now I have a cool coffin to hang out in. Yasiel Puig couldn't rescue us at the end, but he did make 2 All-Star appearances, win a Gold Glove, and get 21 WAR in just 4 seasons with the Brewers. We end the challenge after 46 seasons and only 5 postseason appearances. We won 3,493 games for a winning percentage of .468. Only the Padres, Phillies, Marlins have worse all-time records than that. The real-life Brewers have accrued a .487 lifetime winning percentage, which is 19 points higher, so in other words, I should be ashamed of myself. We retired the jersey numbers of Alex Rodriguez and Ken Griffey Jr. Griffey earned enshrinement into the Hall of Fame in 2010, while A-Rod should be on the first ballot once eligible in 2018. And here are our all-time WAR leaders for hitters on the left and pitchers on the right. Alright, I'd love to see your comments on the outcome. Was that loan I took at the beginning a little bit too harsh and difficult? Would you have done something different? Are you going to try an ownership challenge yourself? Put a like on the video if you liked it, and please subscribe if you want to be notified of more content from this channel, and I'll see you for the next one.